tissue to really know about here. So connective tissue, tissues that connect the body in one way or another. Muscle tissue, animals, hallmark of animalia is really the muscle. We invest in muscle. Really, like, it does a lot. Keeps you warm, helps support the circulatory system. It helps you move, obviously. It's good stuff. The nervous system is the system that we use to relay information back and forth throughout this big old body of ours. And epithelial, we talked about those. Those provide transitions between different environments, whether they're inside the body or outside of the body, right? So they're transition stuff. So connective tissue is the most abundant. There are 4 main classes that we'll look at. So there's connective tissue proper, which means this was like the first defined class, and then they had to go back and broaden this a little bit more. So we'll look at those. Cartilage, bone, which is really like a bank. Yeah, it like holds a lot of calcium. It houses the manufacture of blood, so bone's very important. And then also blood, right? So that's like fluid connective, right? So it's connecting everything through fluid transfer, taking away waste, feeding cells, all good stuff. The hardest thing we do, I think, is in A&P1, we do this nice thing where we start with the directional terms, and we're like, here's some regions of the body, it's sagittal, coronal, it's like not too bad. And then we're like, tissue, memorize how this looks. And most of the time you look at it and you say, it just looks like a bunch of purple and blue squiggles and circles, and it's hard. And so let me just tell you, you're right. And it is. And you still have to know it. But we're going to try to help you as much as we can, okay? So there's a few ways we're going to do it, especially in lab. Let me make a tool with that. So connective tissue proper is going to be things like areolar, adipose, which is fat tissue, reticular, which is tissue inside of organs, right? Dense connective tissues are going to be regular, irregular, and elastic. We'll look at those. Those are like, they hold things together, like we're talking about ligaments and tendons and stuff like that. Like the duct tape of the body is how I like to refer to it. When we talk about cartilage, there's 3 different kinds that we have. You actually start off in life as a completely cartilaginous skeleton, right, during the fetal period. And then all the bone uses that as a scaffold to lay down where it's going to be as it matures. And it's flexible, which is good, and we definitely need that in that time. Bone tissue is hard, and it's like, because it's basically starts off kind of like cartilage, and then it secretes ions, hydroxyapatites, calciums, you can store like fluorine, all kinds of stuff in there. And the body will actually go back and use that later, because calcium is a really important communication tool, charged ion for the body. Your muscles need calcium to contract. Your brain needs calcium to think, okay? And so it's a nice warehouse for that. As a result, it's become highly vascularized because it's a bank, and so we're always needing to kind of dig into it. The blood is how we do that. So the blood goes like the opposite direction. So we have all these like, you know, connective tissues, and they go from like ligaments and tendons to something harder like cartilage, and then it's like bone, which is pretty much, you know, people equate it with a rock-like structure. 1000% wrong. And then we have blood, which is the opposite way. It's fluid. It's about 50% fluid, and about 50% we call the formed elements, which are like cells, living components, stuff like that. Okay. So that is them. Those are the classes. So the things that connective tissue do is it binds and it supports. Whether it's supporting your skeleton, right, supporting your musculature and your framework, or supporting your internal organs and mesentery and all of that, or it's supporting it by bringing in nutrients and oxygen and glucose, it's supporting it and thusly protecting. It insulates to different degrees, especially, you know, yeah. It definitely stores reserve fuel as well as reserve like ions, which is really how we use We use ions to communicate in the cell. We use it to balance water balances. We'll look at that. And then transporting, which is really the blood. That's what the blood's in there for.